Have you heard the good news? The 3 Jamaicans who were placed in isolation upon their return from China have all tested negative for COVID-19, formerly known as the novel coronavirus. While the Ministry of Health and Wellness continues its work to keep us safe, you too can make your health your responsibility by reducing your risk of contracting flu-related illnesses. Wash your hands frequently, cough and sneeze in tissue, then discard it in a bin. Avoid contact with ill persons and sterilize regularly used surfaces. Your Jamaica Magazine program continues with a word of advice followed by the news, so stay with us.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, February 17. The Jamaica National Service Corps, JNSC, now has a permanent home following the opening of a new multi-purpose building at Up Park Camp in Kingston. It was officially opened by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Thursday. The $500 million facility features male and female student barracks, classrooms, and auditorium and staff quarters. Prime Minister Holness says this is another step towards expanding the JNSC component of the Housing, Opportunity, Production, and Employment HOPE program.
Ultimately, the objective is to end this business of unattachment in the society.
Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Darrell Vaz, has given the assurance that there will be no further changes of land use for the Greater Bernard Lodge area. During a press briefing at Jamaica House on Friday, Minister Vaz said this directive had been issued by the Ministry of Agriculture's Land Management Unit. The press briefing was called to update the country on the revised Greater Bernard Lodge Development Master Plan, which was approved by Cabinet in January of this year. An enterprise team was assembled to give oversight of its implementation. Minister Vaz points out that the original master plan was 3,948 acres of land, but the revised plan has 5,384.48 acres.
56% of that 5,384 acres will be devoted to agricultural use, 28% for residential use, and the remaining 16% for utilities, open space, and commercial use. We therefore have increased the agricultural allocation from 43% in the first master plan to 56% in the revised master plan.
He says the development will affect approximately 106 lessees and 55 informal settlers who occupy a total of 1,782.365 acres. All affected persons are to be compensated and/or relocated.
To date, nobody has been forcibly removed, and we have tried to the best of our ability to avoid any litigation.
1,200 residents of 10 communities surrounding the Gisco Alpart Alumina Refinery in St. Elizabeth, who have been affected by dust nuisance from the plant's mud lake, will receive close to $40 million in compensation. The G-Quan Iron and Steel Company made that commitment following a multi-agency meeting last week led by Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Darrell Vaz. After touring the affected areas and meeting with the plant's management, Minister Vaz said he would be working with his colleague Minister of Transport and Mining, Robert Montego, to deal with the issues.
It is something at the top of my list as a priority, and I'm committing to them that I will continue to monitor it personally as Minister and to make sure that we do what we can do as soon as possible.
The problem has become more pronounced since December 2019 and is attributed to the commencement of the dry season and lack of rainfall, as well as Gisco's inability to quickly build out dust containment measures. The company has been instructed to quickly address the stockpile of raw material, which has also been identified as a source of dust, and speedily build out dust suppression measures within the time mandated by NEPA. The plant is also mandated to comply with a cessation order served in January 2019 by NEPA. GISCO is also to increase the number of personnel, such as doctors, legal staff, and community relations officers, to address shortcomings in the areas of health, land settlement, relocation, legacy issues, and community relations with the residents. Minister with Oversight for Education Carl Samuda says the ministry is confident about this year's second sitting of the Primary Exit Profile PEP examinations.
And I'm looking forward to the improvement in their performance over last year, because we have engaged certain facilities and certain techniques like our coaching system and so on. So I'm satisfied that with that having been done over last year, that our students will respond in a positive way.
The minister was speaking last Thursday during a press conference at his ministry's Hero Circle headquarters in Kingston. This year, 39,561 students will be sitting PEP, which begins on February 25 with the ability test. On March 19 and 20, students will sit the performance task exams in language arts and mathematics. Those will be followed by the curriculum-based test on April 23 and 24 in language arts and science, mathematics, and social studies. Minister Samuda says training for presiding examiners and invigilators began on February 3 and will end by February 21. Timetables and verification lists have been distributed to primary schools, and monitors are being recruited to support the ministry's core personnel. And finally, the Ministry of Education is calling on school administrators to take every precaution to stop students from participating in the growing social media prank known as the Jump Trip Challenge, or the Tripping Jump Challenge. Several videos have been circulating on the internet showing students jumping and violently falling to the ground after being tripped by others. The ministry says the prank should not be tolerated because it is a horrific act that can cause serious physical, mental, and emotional damage to students. School administrators have been asked to inform parents of the unfortunate situation and solicit their support in curtailing the act. In the meantime, the Education Ministry says it stands ready to provide any assistance needed to ensure that the practice stops immediately. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Emergency warning signs of influenza in children include fast or troubled breathing, bluish skin color, dehydration from not drinking enough fluids, sluggishness, not waking up or not interacting, irritability, that is, the child not wanting to be held, fever with a rash, and flu-like symptoms which seem to go away but return with fever and a cough. Children exhibiting these signs need urgent medical attention. In adults, emergency warning signs include difficulty breathing or shortness of breath, pain or pressure in the chest or abdomen, sudden dizziness, confusion, and severe or persistent vomiting. If you see any of these signs, consult your doctor or a public hospital or clinic close to you. A message from the Jamaica Information Service, the Voice of Jamaica.
Did you know that 60% of the waste collected by the National Solid Waste Management Agency can be used as compost material? Yes, the banana, yam and vegetable peel, as well as the cardboard and domestic animal waste, can be used to make topsoil. Find out more in this next feature.
Compost is one of the richest form of soil nutrient. So here we are buying fertilizer for huge sums of money, when in fact we are throwing away something which is richer in many regards than what we are buying, spending hard cash for. we, from time to time, do what we call garbage characterization survey. This is where we actually go island-wide and take samples of the garbage and look at what make up the garbage. All the surveys that are done in recent past points to one particular set of dynamic. The compostables are always the highest. 67% in some survey, 65% in some. We eat vegetables. We do ground provisions, the peelings from those. We use cardboards, newspapers, lots of stuff that can be broken down and can be put to good use. With such a high percentage of the solid waste being compostable, we are therefore forced to look at how we're going to manage in the best way possible, in the most efficient way possible, that high percentage of the garbage.
Composting is a rich form of soil that is broken down by microorganisms to become either fertilizer or soil. Now we're going to do a demonstration to show you how we can do it. First, if we're starting, this is our kitchen waste. So if you're starting a compost bin at home, you need to get your kitchen peel, your banana, your lettuce, your cabbage, your tomatoes, and you cut them in finer particles. It will make it break down much faster. In order for the microorganism to work effectively, you need moisture, you need air, and you need heat. You can use a hand shovel or your hands. Too much moisture will allow the stuff to rot and it won't be compost. And if it is too dry, the microorganisms won't be able to work effectively. So you need to get a right mixture. If you squeeze it with a fist, you shouldn't have any water running out of it. If it's dripping, it is okay. If it is running out of it, that means you have too much water. So now this is our compost. If you keep this moisture in your compost, it will give you a maturity rate of 3.5 months. And you'll get this final product, which is this right here. Compost, what it does, the longer it stays into the ground, is the richer it becomes. We're going to demonstrate how we use our compost for potting. We're going to pot a few plants using our compost. This plant is called spider fern. It is an indoor plant that does like a fair amount of water. It likes a light mixture. The composting can be used for indoor and outdoor plants. This plant is called a bougainvillea. It is an outdoor plant. It likes a lot of sunlight. It blooms a lot, and it likes dry areas. The compost is offer drainage. It doesn't keep the water too long. This is now 6 weeks old, and this is 3 weeks after being planted as a seedling using our compost. And this bougainvillea is 6 weeks after being planted by our compost. And they're just blooming, blooming, blooming. This is a mature spider fern that we use for our rentals, and this is about 2.5 months old.
At the NSWMA, the parks that we manage, the beautiful flowers that you see there, the composting that is used to fertilize these plants are actually done within the department here at Parks and Gardens.
The other benefit is that we at the NSWMA, we would need less trucks. Now, right now, our biggest problem is trucks to remove garbage. Can you imagine if we could take out the 67%, which we could convert at source? What that would do to our national budget? Gas oil, repairs of trucks, labor to work on the trucks. Just look at it. it is huge savings that could come. Exponential is about getting a behavioral change at source that will see significant reduction in solid waste. We want to see this reduction and to see it in a very tangible way. And we believe that composting provides that excellent opportunity.
Kingston will be the center of trade and economic activity. Kingston will be the center of business, of leisure. Kingston will be the place of choice to live, work, raise your family, and I have added to that, retire in paradise.
The seas call them home, home, where the northeast trade winds dance through the sounds of reggae, where the cockpit country shadows the world's fastest man, the vanguard of the Caribbean. The seas call them home, home to Jamaica. Jamaica is the third largest island in the Caribbean and the largest English-speaking island state, with the seventh largest natural harbor in the world, essential for a robust shipping industry. Jamaica also has the second largest transshipment hub in the Caribbean. These developments are driven by a commitment to honor the international maritime conventions that Jamaica has signed, establishing a maturing partnership with the International Maritime Organization, IMO. This 40-year partnership brings consistent advocacy for the maritime interests of Jamaica, the Caribbean and the small island developing states and the least developed countries. The seas carry them on, shaping an expansive and progressive maritime vision, fueling a structure and infrastructure of container, cruise and bulk cargo ports, maritime administration and ship registration, maritime education and training. This vision led to the expansion and upgrading of port facilities island-wide to capitalize on additional trade and larger ships accessing services through the newly expanded Panama Canal. The expansion positions Kingston as one of the region's major ports. The Port of Kingston is also equipped to offer a range of maritime logistical services, for example, operating as the regional hub for vehicles delivered to 23 destinations in Central America and the Caribbean. Through German Ship Repair Services Jamaica, the island also offers wet dock repair services and plans full ship repairs with a floating dry dock. Jamaica's commitment to a greener maritime environment guides its fuel diversification with the use of clean fuels including natural gas. The prevention of maritime pollution is also integral in policy initiatives. As part of this thrust, Jamaica is now acceded to the Ballast Water Management Convention 2004 and is also the lead partnering country in the IMO's Globe Ballast Partnerships Program. Bunkering is another key element of Jamaica's position as a major shipping center. We supply bunkers not only for vessels calling at Jamaican ports, including cruise ships, but also for those transiting across the wider Caribbean. Falmouth, Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, Port Antonio and Kingston, 5 cruise shipping ports, with the Falmouth Pier being purpose-built for the largest cruise ships in the world. These major cruise ports offer a full range of cruise passenger facilities and services. Awarded the world's leading cruise destination, Jamaica's unique attractions, diverse tourism and numerous recreational and cultural activities are equal sources of attraction for the creme de la creme of the seas, Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship and other major cruise lines. The seas sends them out. Seafarers and shipping staff trained in Jamaica for international service are key to Jamaica's success as a maritime state. The Caribbean Maritime University, CMU, is the sole IMO-recognized maritime training institution in the English-speaking Caribbean for the training of officers. The CMU is now poised to satisfy the region's demands in the expanding maritime and logistics sectors with the opening of 5 satellite campuses. Through partnership with the Technical Cooperation Division of the IMO, Jamaica helps countries in the region meet their obligations under the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. Jamaica has also chaired for 10 years at the IMO, the organ responsible for the international rules for standards of training for seafarers. Jamaica is committed to reducing substandard shipping in the Caribbean. To meet this objective, the island has hosted the Secretariat of the Caribbean Memorandum of Understanding on Port State Control, CMOU, since 2004. In addition, Jamaica is host to the International Seabed Authority. 25 states now have permanent missions to support the regulation and control of all mineral-related activities of the authority. Partnering with the IMO Program of Integration for Women in the Maritime Sector, Jamaica has helped to mobilize maritime women in the region and strengthened their contribution to the safety, security and environmental protection of the maritime industry. Jamaica has also hosted the inaugural Regional Women in Maritime Association WEMAC conference. Its executive is led by a cohort of strong female leaders, including its first president, a Jamaican. The seas carry them through. Jamaica's long-standing advantages, highly developed shipping expertise, and a skilled and educated workforce has seen our maritime sector blossom into an invaluable resource for the Caribbean and the region. A maritime state, a maritime home, bridging the IMO with the Caribbean and the Americas.
Let's get together and feel alright.
For the upcoming financial year, the government will be spending big on agriculture. Of the $14 billion allotted, $1.2 billion will be put towards repairing farm roads, $612 million on irrigation projects, and $320 million to upgrade the Bodles Research Center. These projects will complement the state's continued efforts to increase productivity within the sector with the use of drones. Take a look.
The Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries is looking to employ the use of drone technology in the agriculture sector to provide useful data to drive production and productivity. Collaborating with local company DNC Drones, Minister without Portfolio J.C. Hutchinson held a demonstration with farmers in Low River, Trelawney in August. It showed the farmers that the drones will be able to assess damage to their sector from natural disasters such as a flood and help them identify measures to boost crop yield.
What we are looking for the drone to do is that once we have crop damage after a hurricane or flood, we usually find that when the estimates come in, we find that the estimates are not usually correct because many of the extension officers can't reach the areas where the damage is. With the drone, we are able to go over and identify all the crops, all the animals that have been lost, and bring back the picture within a day.
Director of DNC Drones, Nigel Davies, said this type of drone technology is called precision agriculture,
which basically is collecting data in real time, analyzing that data, and then interpreting data to advise the farmer as to the status of his crop, which is basically his nutrient contents in his crop, the moisture content in his field, and how much he has. Because this technology can also count the number of hills of yam, potato plants, tomato plants in the field. We can assess, let's say, the number of animals that died. We can measure that. We can tell you that, wait a minute, that these guys had 20 acres of yam here, and we knew that 6 months ago it was 50 hills of yams. We now can say he lost 50 hills of yams. So the drone technology is used widely in disaster management.
Other benefits of the drones include giving a clear picture of crops under production and identifying areas with irrigation needs and crops that are lacking in nutrients.
We have what we call a multispectral camera, which is this little camera on this particular drone, and it takes pictures of the plants. As you well know, plant leaves basically absorb sunlight and reflect sunlight. So this is a special camera that rejects infrared or near infrared, and then it can use that data using an algorithm to tell us how much nitrogen, how much potassium, how much phosphorus, or the lack thereof, in a plant. We also can tell you the moisture content in the field.
Now, if that can be done, we will be able to tell the farmer what needs to be done with his different crops. And with that, we are looking at seeing how we can not only increase production, but we can increase productivity. So with the technology, we are looking to see if we can bolster agriculture.
The drone demonstration in Trelawney is the first of an island-wide campaign by the Agriculture Ministry to sensitize farmers about the benefits of the technology.
We feel that it can be able to counteract predial larceny in a certain way, and we are going to see how we can get it going so that we are able to counteract predial larceny for the farmers.
We can identify cows or any animals, as the case may be, that may be hidden anywhere. Let's say, for example, Master Storm. You know Master Storm only have 5 goats in his field, but all of a sudden, in the backyard, he might have another 10. We can survey that area and identify the number of cows or goats, as the case may be, using our thermal imaging camera. We can't solve the problem, but we can aid in recovery of animals or monitor a man's farm. Minister, we're going to work with you and try to streamline the technology to ensure that we can attain that goal.
I think the drone is going to make a big difference as far as us moving forward in agriculture. I want to see a revolutionization of agriculture in this country.
And that's the time we have left on this station. Be sure to join us again tomorrow around about the same time for another informative Jamaica Magazine program. Missed aspects of today's show? Visit gis.gov.jm or our YouTube channel. You may also connect with us on all the major social media sites. And what's more, you can download our mobile app from your phone's app store. On behalf of the entire team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.